You're not where you want to be, not because you lack talent. It's not because you don't have the right opportunity. And it's not even because you don't know what to do, because you do know what to do. You're not where you want to be because deep down, you just don't trust yourself. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that means, why that is keeping you stuck, and what you can do to get out of that, so you can rebuild your mental clarity and start making more meaningful progress in your life. So think about the last time you made a promise to yourself. Maybe it was, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow. I'm going to go and train tomorrow. I'm going to finish that project this week. How did that go for you? If you're like most people, then you will probably have broken that promise in days. If you're like few people, then maybe it's weeks or months. But eventually, it always seems to come to a biting point. And this is the same reason why most New Year's resolutions are broken within 3 weeks of them being set. But that's not the interesting part. For me, having worked one-to-one with elite performers, with people who are high performers in their business, they're making lots of money. They have great relationships. They have the success on paper. But there's a pattern that I seem to observe in all of them, whether they're the athletes or whether they're the business owners. It's that self-trust takes years to build and only moments to break. See, every time you break a promise to yourself, there is an underlying cost that most people are just not aware of. And it has nothing to do with willpower or discipline. What you're doing at all times is being recorded by your mind and your body. It's like your nervous system logs these things as evidence. And the evidence that most people build is evidence that you can't rely on yourself. Evidence that you're the type of person that doesn't follow through. Evidence that when you make a commitment, it doesn't really mean anything. Now, in the moment, breaking a promise to yourself, even if it's a small one, doesn't feel like a big deal. So you missed a few workouts or you procrastinated on that project, so what? But what you don't realize is what's going on underneath the hood in your subconscious mind is that every broken promise is quietly shaping your identity. It's building a neural pathway that tells yourself, I'm just not that kind of person. I always fall off. I can't trust myself. I'm not consistent. And if that becomes your identity, then there's no planner, there's no system, there's no trick in the world, even in my content, that is going to help you make it stick. And you've probably tried the productivity hacks, the journaling, the meditation, the reading, and none of them have had a long-term impact on you. But that's because these tools are only supposed to be supplements to an already fixed identity. If you don't fix the underlying issues first, then you'll always find a way to self-sabotage your progress. Because your mind is only going to help you stay congruent with who you think you really are. That's why someone can have all the knowledge in the world, all the right strategies, but still find themselves spinning the wheels. And like I said, I've seen this live in action with the 7-figure clients that I'm working with one-to-one. They're constantly spiraling and self-sabotaging and thinking less of themselves. See, the problem isn't that you're lazy or you're undisciplined, because otherwise you wouldn't even have the desire to improve. You wouldn't even be watching this. If you weren't capable, then you wouldn't have the desire. And if you weren't ready, then you wouldn't have the opportunity. The problem is you're making promises to a version of yourself that just doesn't exist yet. And your mind, only being a result of biological evolution and improvement, advancement, is only trying to protect you. It starts shutting down these desires because it sees them as threats. And that's why for most people, it's over before it's even begun. It's like they're running a race with ankle weights on. It's not an issue with the system. In fact, the system is doing its job perfectly. It's an issue with the programs that are running inside. And here's what I've learned from working with elite performers and studying them for years. The most successful people are not the ones with the best strategies or the best discipline. They're the ones who have built an unshakable relationship of trust with themselves and had the highest conviction in their ability. When they say they're going to do something, they mean it. And they train their nervous system to believe the same thing. And that's why things seem to flow easily to them. Don't you ever look at someone and think, why do they get all the opportunities? Why do they get all the success? It's not that they have it easier. It's that they've built a foundation of self-trust that no one else can take from them. And everything else can be built on top of that. It's like a foundation. So we're quick to judge these people, but we didn't see the years it took to build that relationship with themselves, even if they did it unconsciously. But here's the good news. Self-trust is not something that you don't have or you have. It's something that can be built up. It's something that you train. Like any relationship or anything that you pursue mastery in, it gets stronger every time that you show up. But here's the thing. You can't build it the way most people try to. You can't just make bigger promises to yourself and hope for the best. You can't rely on discipline, motivation, or the perfect conditions. What you need is a system, one to catch you in the self-sabotage loop and redirect before shame takes over. See, shame is such a big thing. People operate from this frame and frequency of shame, and that's why they get more of what they fear. So a way to rebuild that relationship with yourself is micro commitments over a long period of time and let the magical compounding do the rest. I recently did a deep dive on this, a 60-minute masterclass called the Self-Trust Rebuild. It's a workshop that's available in the description below, which will be the first link, I believe. In it, I walk you through the psychology of breaking the promises to yourself, what goes on beneath the hood. And more importantly, I share with you a 3-step framework that I've developed and I've given to my one-to-one clients who pay me thousands and thousands of dollars for, to help interrupt and break that self-sabotage loop in real time. I cover the emotional cost of self-betrayal and what that really means for yourself, why your nervous system is working against you, the MVP method that rebuilds your self-trust in a matter of minutes, and how the 1% have secretly shifted their identity from inconsistent to trustworthy. and how you can too. You can dive deeper into that into the first link in the description below, and you can enroll while there is still seats available. Anyhow, so how can you make this actionable shift today? Well, the simple answer to this is to stop making promises that your nervous system just can't keep. Instead, make a stupidly small promise to yourself and rebuild your self-trust with micro commitments instead of grand gestures. You don't have to go and run a marathon, but maybe you go and run 100 meters. Instead of I'm going to work for an hour, work for just 2 minutes. Instead of I'm going to write a page, let me just write a sentence. I know it almost sounds like a joke, but the thing is, your nervous system can't tell the difference between doing 2 hours of work and 2 minutes of work. What matters is the promise that you're keeping to yourself and the psychological benefits that you will reap of that. Because here's what happens when you keep those micro promises to yourself. Your nervous system starts logging new evidence that you are the person that follows through. Begin to rebuild that foundation of self-trust with yourself, one tiny win at a time. And once that foundation is solid, then you can start building bigger. And people think this is about lowering the bar, but it's not. It's about raising the floor. You don't rise to the level of your expectations, but you fall to the level of your training, as James Clear said in Atomic Habits. See, elite performers understand this intuitively. They know that consistency beats intensity every single time. So create a stupidly small version of that promise to yourself. Something so small it feels embarrassing to not do it, and then do it every single day for the next 7 days. Don't worry about building it up. Don't worry about doing more. Just stick to that. Just focus on one tiny promise at a time and see what happens. And then notice how you feel when you actually follow through. Notice how your relationship with yourself starts to shift. Now, what I've shared with you today is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, there's so much more to rebuilding self-trust that people don't realize. Like I said, catching yourself in self-sabotage in real time rather than after it's happened. How to repair the emotional damage when you do mess up inevitably, and how to systematically shift yourself from inconsistent to trustworthy. Like I said, the details of the self-trust rebuild workshop are below for you to see. So if you want to go deeper, then I'll leave that link in the description below. But honestly, just what I've shared today can be life-changing if you apply it. The relationship between you and yourself and your trust is the most important one that you'll ever have. Everything else in life will flow from that foundation. So if you resonated with this video at all, then go and check out this video where I talk about the programming and the role that programming plays in your life, and you probably don't even realize it. And then how to reprogram your mind to win.